A4 and B1. Alright, so here's my diagram. And I want to find A4 and B1. Alright, so the first thing I do is I look at A4. So what I've got here is I have two parallel lines. So I highlight my two parallel lines so I know which lines are parallel. Alright, gentlemen. Okay. Then I see I've got 45 degrees, so I know this angle is 45. Okay, so that angle is 45 degrees. How do I get A4 and B1?
A4, vertical opposite angles.
Okay, so I can say A4 is equal to A1 is equal to 45 degrees vertically opposite angles equal. Alright. Vertically opposite angles equal. Yes. Alright. So, now, how do I get B1? Alright. How do I get B1? So, let's look at my parallel lines. Can anyone see it? Let's try to figure out how to get B1. Let's have on my star geometry student.
There's no U there.
Like the
Z. Yes.
It's a U.
You see, Latavo's my star geometry student.
Where's the
Alright, so look. Here's my two parallel lines.
Now I see. You see? Yeah.
I have,
Then if we get U, then we
there it is. Do you see it? Alright, so now I know that this is equal to this one over here. Alright. I can also have my parallel lines like this. Okay?
And the U.
So, before I continue, there's something I want to show you guys quick. So, if I have a triangle, and this line is continued outwards, this plus this equals this. So, A plus B, that's D, plus B is equal to C2. That's a rule. A plus B is equal to C2, and your reason is exterior angles of a triangle. Okay. Exterior angles of a triangle. Alright, guys, start drawing these diagrams into your books. I need to check something.
Why do you have second? Why do you have
Okay, so guys, I just want you to find out what B1 is equal to. You don't need to give it a number. Let's call this 60 degrees. Okay, so what is B1 equal to? 60 degrees. So I say B1 is equal to A3 is equal to 60 degrees. And my reason is alternate angles equal. Okay.
Yes.
Alright, let's move on to our next drawing. This is drawing number 1.
No, they're supposed to be. Because they must have 280.
Go on to drawing number 2.
So, madam, we're done with the first drawing.
Done with the first drawing. I asked you to find 2 things. I said A and B. We found A and B, now we're done. I didn't ask you to find anything else. Alright. So let's go on to our second drawing. It says find X and Y. Okay. So I have my parallel lines. So the first thing I do is I highlight my parallel lines. I can see this line is parallel to that line. Okay, so now, what is X equal to? Can anyone see it?
So cute.
70. What's the reason? Good stuff. Alright, so I say X is equal to 70 degrees. So guys, you see how they didn't give me any letters here? The only letters they gave me are the ones they wanted me to find. They didn't say this was A. They just gave me letters of the stuff they wanted me to find. So I'm just doing that. I'm not doing anything else. I'm just using the letters of the stuff they wanted me to find. Alright, so now I say X is equal to 70. What's my reason? Alternate angles equal. Alright, so now I have X is equal to 70. So those 2 angles are equal. Now I need to find Y.
Y is 110.
Alright, there's a U. Alright, so here's my U.
Yes.
There's my U.
It's 110.
Do you see my U?
Yes.
Okay, so how do I find Y?
Y is equal to 180 minus 70.
Yes, Y plus 17 is equal to 180. What's my reason?
Co-interior angles.
Co-interior angles equal 180 degrees. Guys. Alright, co-interior angles equal 180 degrees. Okay, so now I say Y is equal to 110 degrees. Are we happy? And now I'm done with this question. Because they asked me to find X and Y. Now I have found X and Y. So now I can move on. Okay, so now, this question, this was number 2. Number 3. It says find X. Alright, so you now see how we've got 2X, we've got 3X, and we've got a whole bunch of numbers here. This is a little more confusing. This is something I haven't done with you guys before. Okay, so what do we know? If we have a triangle, what do we know about a triangle?
Angles are equal to 180.
Interior angles equal 180 degrees. Okay, so now I'm just going to write this off in its own block because this is its own point. Alright, this is a rule you have to learn. Important rule. So now I can say, if I have 60, well, let's call this A, B, and C. So I can say A plus B plus C is equal to 180 degrees, right? So now I can say 3x, so I've got A, which is 60, plus 3x minus 50, plus 2x plus 30 equals 180 degrees. You see how I did that? I just took, this was B, this was A, this was C. I just put them together and said they add up to 180. Okay. So now I say 60 plus 3x minus 50, I'm just rewriting it for us so it looks nice, plus 2x plus 30 equals 180. Now I do the normal thing I do with algebra. Okay. Like terms, so I've got my numbers. There's a number, there's a number, there's a number, there's a number. And then I want to do my letters. There's a letter, there's a letter. So all my letters go to one side, all my numbers go to the other side. So now I've got 3x plus 2x is equal to 180 minus 30. 30 goes over and becomes minus, plus 50 minus 60. Okay, you see how I'm doing this? I'm solving for x. I'm using my algebra knowledge to solve for x. So now I say, what's 3x plus 2x? 5x? No? So I'm just adding them. So only if I times x by x, that gives me x squared. Okay, so let's quickly revise that. Alright, I'm going to make a note. Alright, we've got our spot over here for our note. So, x times x equals x squared. X plus x is equal to 2x. Okay. So when we times it together, when we multiply, alright, then we get x squared. If we add, then we get 2x. Okay. So now I've got 5x is equal to 180 minus 30 plus 50 minus 60. So you just plug this whole thing into your calculator. Okay. You don't need to work it out in your head. You just plug it into your calculator. So I get 140. And I say, what's 140 divided by 5? So I divide both sides by 5. And I get x is equal to 140 divided by 5. I can't do it in my head. 28. So x is equal to 28 degrees. There we go. Now we've solved for x. Do you see how I solved for x here?
Yes.
Let me do it again.
Yes.
Okay. This is a yes, so I'm going to do it again. So I'm adding, I know the three angles of a triangle. If I add them together, it'll give me 180. Okay? So now, I say A plus B plus C is equal to 180. And I put my angles in. I've got my 60, my 3x minus 50, which is over there, and my 2x plus 30 over there. And I put them into my brackets. And then what I do is I underline my like terms. Okay? So you see how this question combines all your knowledge. Combines your like terms, combines everything. So, 60. So we first do our greens. We put our greens on the one side and our reds on the other side. Alright, so I've got 3x plus 2x is 5x. Alright, now I've got 180 minus 30 plus 50 minus 60 because all my numbers went over to the other side. Alright, so this is 140, this will be 5x. I divide both sides by 5 to get x on its own, which gives me x is equal to 28. Now, question 2 says, find B. So this was part 1. This was A. Find B. A is find x. B is find angle B. Alright, so now they want me to find this angle. So I say 3x minus 50. B equals 3x minus 50. Now I put my number in, 28. 3 times 28. 3 times 28 minus 50. Okay? What's 3 times 28? 84, right? Someone check on the calculator? 84. Alright, so I've got 84 minus 50 gives me 34 degrees. Now I've calculated how big angle B is. Do you see that? Because I just substituted in my value for x. Okay. The next one. 24 here. And it says find x. Find x, so this is our area, equals 24. Length equals 8. How do I find x? So I start by saying area is equal to length times breadth. Alright, so now I've got my area, which is 24, is equal to my length, 8 times my breadth, which is x. So 24 is equal to 8x. X is equal to 4. Because 4 times 8 is 28. 32. Come on, 4 times 8 is 32. What's 24 divided by 8? It's 3, right? Yeah. So I divide both sides by 8. I get 3 is equal to x. Okay. 3 is equal to x. All right. Alright, so now, if I have a fish tank, alright, so I have a fish tank and it's got some water in it, okay? Alright, so I say this is 8, this is 10, and that is 4. How do I calculate the volume of my fish tank? Alright, so this is, it's a little bit small, so let's go around a bit bigger. This one is 4. How do I calculate the volume of my fish tank? So we start by saying, what's the formula for volume? Length times breadth times height. So volume is equal to length times breadth times height. Alright, so let's say this is centimeters, because I have very small fish. And I'm punishing them with a very small cage. Okay. Alright, so now, well maybe we just say I've got one fish in my fish tank. So now I say my length. So my length is 10, times my breadth is 4, times my height is 8. Okay, so 10 times 4 is 40. Alright, so 4 times 8 is 32, times 10 is 320 centimeters cubed. Okay? So now, if I say, my next question, so this is question 1, what's calculate volume? Calculate volume. Question 2. Alright, if 1 centimeter cubed is 1 milliliter, how much water must I put in the tank? One centimeter cubed is 1 milliliter. How much water must I put in the tank? Can anyone answer this question for me? Alright, so how many centimeters cubed have I got here? 320. And if 1 centimeter cubed is the same thing as 1 milliliter, how many milliliters of water do I need? 320 milliliters. Okay, you see that? All right. All right. So, I sent pictures to the WhatsApp group of tables and stuff I wanted you to copy into your book. All right. I'm not checking homework because I'd much rather be teaching you in this time instead of checking homework. All right. But I'm assuming you copied it in because you're all my great, wonderful students. Okay. So, what is the formula for the area of a triangle? Yeah, half base times. Thank you. Half base times perpendicular height. So, area of a triangle is equal to half base times perpendicular height. Okay. Half base times perpendicular height. So, if I'm going to draw us a triangle over here. So if I've got my first question is find the area of ABC. ABC, that's my triangle. So I'm going to redraw my triangle to make it easier for me. This is 4, that is 6. Okay. So now I need to work out the perpendicular height. Okay. My perpendicular height. So to calculate my perpendicular height, I need to use the Theorem of Pythagoras. Alright? This might be new to some of you, should be copied into your books regardless. We're going to go through it now. Alright, so area is half base times height. So first I need to get my perpendicular height. So if I look at this triangle, so now I'm going to redraw this triangle again. It said now only half of the triangle I'm drawing. What is this length over here? 3. Because it's half of this, of 6. So that's 3. And I've got that as 4. So Pythagoras says my perpendicular height. So I have, this is A, B, and C. So I say A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That's my theorem of Pythagoras. Okay? So now what I do is I say A is what I want. So A squared plus, I've got B, which is 3 squared, is equal to 4 squared. Okay, so now I say A squared is equal to 4 squared minus 3 squared. So A squared is equal to 16 minus 9. Alright, so A squared is equal to 5. So now, it's an important point that I'm worried some of you are going to forget. So I want to show you this point. Now I say A is equal to the square root of 5. Alright. I have to square my answer because it's squared over there. If I take a square over, I have to square root both of them. So it'll be the square root of 5. So now I have this over here. I have a, which is root 5. Which means over here I have root 5. Okay, so now I have my perpendicular height. Okay. Alright, I'm going to try my writing over here. Alright, so now I have area is equal to half base times perpendicular height. What's my base? 6. Half times 6 times my perpendicular height? Root 5. Okay, because that's what I calculated my perpendicular height to be, root 5. Alright, so now my answer will be 3 root 5. But you just type it into your calculator. So type this into your calculator, you'll see it will give you 3 root 5. Half times 6 times 5 into your calculator. That's your final answer. Yeah. Okay. So we've got to remember, it's not quite our final answer. We have to say centimeters squared. Alright, so what I'm doing here? Yeah. Okay, so guys, the first thing I do here is I find my perpendicular height, because I need my perpendicular height. So I use the theorem of Pythagoras. This is, I'm going to write in a different color, Pythagoras. Alright, Pythagoras. A squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Okay, so a squared is what I don't know. That's what I want to find out. So I say b squared, which is 3 squared, plus c squared, which is 4 squared. Okay? Is equal to a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So now I've just filled in my values. I've said a squared plus 3 squared is equal to 4 squared. Okay. So from there, I say 4 squared minus 3 squared is equal to a squared. Because I took my 3 over. Alright? What I could do is I could say 9 is equal, a squared plus 9 is equal to 16, and then take that over. Alright, so now I've got 16 minus 9. Alright? A squared is equal to 16 minus 9. 16 minus 9 is 5. Then I have to square root both of them, and I get an answer of root 5. Because if I take the square root of 5, my answer is root 5, and I just leave it like that. Yeah, I don't need decimals. I can just leave it as root 5. Then I go over here and I plug it into my formula. So now I know what my perpendicular height is. It's root 5. So here's my triangle. I put in root 5. Okay? So now that I've got that, I plug it into my other formula. So it's half base times height. My base is 6. So this is my base over here. My base is 6. Half base, so half times 6 times my perpendicular height, which I worked out to be root 5. Okay. So, and that'll give me an answer of 3 root 5 centimeters squared. Okay. Just type it into your calculator, you get your answer of 3 root 5. You type this in. Now it says find the volume, B. Find volume of the triangular prism. Okay, so now this is actually really easy because my volume is equal to half base times height times my length. Okay, half base, that's, here's my half base times height times length. But I already know what my half base times height is. So volume is equal to my area times my length. Do you see that? Because this is my formula for area, so it's area times length. So now what I say is equal to 3 root 5 times 16. Alright, and that will give us, can't maths that high in my head. 47 root 5?
48.
48 root 5. Alright, centimeters cubed. Okay. Alright, so I just took my area and I times it by my length, which was 16. Alright, rules. This is the last thing we're going to do. Rules for reflection. Rules for reflection. So this is our transformation geometry. Alright, if I reflect across X.
I'm done with them. They just give me water and they'll be waiting for me. That class is bigger.
Don't worry about it. The power's going to go off. So.
Oh, so you have them here. No
Yeah.
problem, wherever you want, but they're all here.
Perfect.
Good turnout.
Alright, reflect across X. Okay? So when I reflect across X, my point, X, Y becomes what? If I'm reflecting across X.
Why? No.
X minus Y. Okay? X minus Y. Alright? And then so my Y becomes negative. Alright, so I'm reflecting across Y. What happens? I've got X, Y, and it becomes
Negative X.
negative X, Y. Alright, so I reflect across Y equals X. What does it become?
X, Y, 2Y.
Alright, X, Y becomes
Y, X.
Y, X. Okay. So let's do a quick example of each one of them. So if this is 2 and 3, I'm going to do the example in a different color. You can see it. If this is 2 and that's 3, what does it become over here? 2 and minus 3. See that? If this is 2 and 3, what does it become over here? Negative 2, 3. Alright, so if this is 2, 2, 3, what does it become over here? 3, 2. Okay. That's our revision for today done.
It's all done now.